Tell him get his act together, cause I ain't messing with nobody lesser. Plus I'm rocking. What's up, y'all? I just really want to talk about loneliness, my battle with loneliness recently. So as you all know, a little over 2 years ago, I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. Just because I needed something fresh and something different in my life. I was tired of Pennsylvania. I spent my entire life there. So I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. Excuse me, y'all, sorry. The one thing I didn't know about my experience being in Atlanta was that I was going to experience such a lonely time. From the moment I got here, I've kind of been just like by myself. And like, let me first put the disclaimer here that I moved here with my best friend and we still live together, and that is my ace woman. She's always there for me. But truthfully, she has a life. She has her own life, her own friends, her own path. And we can't be dependent on each other for what's gonna happen in our life. So you know, I did the whole lonely thing for these past 2 years. I've been by myself, y'all. I mean, going out on dates by myself, going out by myself sometimes. I'm pretty much alone all the time unless I'm with her. That is up until about October of last year. I started dating, as per my last video. I started to meet people, so now my hangouts were becoming like, I was hanging out with other people. It was fun. And then I would hang out with Bestie when I could and when she could. I do want to say though that period of being by myself for all that time, made me realize that I wasn't choosing to be alone. And I was alone a lot, but I'm a shy, introverted type of person. So in my head, I was like choosing to be alone. Like, I just want to be by myself. Like, I don't really want to be with people. I really don't want to be around people. And that's kind of how I've always been. Because I've always been so different from everybody else. And I didn't really like the things that I grew up around and everything. Like, wasn't my cup of tea. So I spent a lot of time by myself growing up. In the midst of living in the house with 6 to 10 people at a time, at any given time, going to school, having friends, all that stuff, I would choose to be by myself. I enjoyed it. I truly enjoyed it. So that's what I thought I was doing throughout that time up until October of last year. Like, that's what I was just like, I'm choosing to be by myself. Like, I don't want to be around nobody. I don't want to make no friends. I don't want to get outside. I don't want to do none of that. Like, that was my mindset. But then, I think it was like end of January, early February, I met somebody. We kind of clicked like immediately. You know, like that cupcake phase of like me and somebody, like, child, we talk every day, all day, constant communication. it was great. However, because of just everything that I was dealing with, the feeling of loneliness, I wasn't around my family. I was dealing with so much. Like, I can't even go into detail about everything that I was dealing with. And I think that they were experiencing their own things as well. And basically we decided to like take some space from each other. I understood. It made sense. Everything made sense. Kinda. Everything, but for the most part, everything made sense. But that didn't make it hurt no less. I felt like the finally when I was getting into a space where I was getting to a space where I wasn't forced to be by myself. Somebody was actually choosing to be a part of my life daily, was great. And it just made me feel like less by myself, especially being out here. It just made me feel like less alone. So it was definitely great, and I think I latched onto it like because I didn't want to be alone. And on top of that, great guy, very nice, gentle, caring, like all of those things. Allowed me to be myself, really made me feel comfortable in being myself. I was allowed, like, I could share anything with this person. It was just like, it was great. It was like kind of killing two birds with one stone. Like, I don't want to be by myself anyway, but the fact that I'm not by myself and I'm with somebody who's like I actually like and grew into loving, was amazing. But when we decided to take that time, that stung. Like, that was like, whoa. Like, it took me to a whole nother place because I was dealing with so much already. My mind was going crazy, and like I already just like wasn't really fulfilled on the inside. So that was like the one thing that was like really, really fulfilling for me in my life at the moment. So basically, things went from worse to worse, sir, because baby, I ended up being by myself like completely. Living alone for the time being. I don't live alone, but for the time being, I was alone in the house by myself every day. Experiencing that space and breakup, things going on with my family back home, issues like with friends, we're all becoming like more distant. It was just y'all, like, if I could go into detail about everything I was experiencing at that time, child. Anyway, I was depressed, anxious, having anxiety attacks, crying every day. It was just bad, y'all, because I just could not believe that I had went from being like at such a high point of like being in love, and like my friends were happy for me, my family was happy for me, I was talking to them, everything was cool, I was finally getting outside the house, I was doing everything, and it was just like everything got stripped away. And I wanted to blame everybody else so bad. Oh, honey, I wanted to blame everybody else so bad. But truthfully, it wasn't nobody's fault. I wouldn't even say it's my fault. My circumstances and me being shy, me being introverted, me having trauma of dealing with people and just everything forced me into a bubble of being by myself. And the one chance I got to be out of being by myself, attached to it. And then I was forced with the reality of, Teron, you have to face being alone. And like really face it. And not just make it like, oh, well, I'm choosing it. Like, because you wasn't choosing it, boy. You was never choosing to be alone. You were kind of forced. And I think that was the problem. I hated the fact that I was forced to be alone. It was like no other option other than doing something that felt uncomfortable to me, which was going outside and meeting people and actually speaking to people first and doing, like, that was uncomfortable to me. It didn't work. So I was faced with no other option but to be by myself. And I hated it. Because I hated the fact that I couldn't just choose, like in my past, just choose to be like, I don't want to deal with people. It was like, boy, you don't got no choice. You want to be around people right now, you can't. You don't got no option. And obviously there was an option. It was nigga go outside and meet people, but that's easier said than done when you're a shy, anxious little boy. So I was just by myself all the time and I hated it. And I would try my best to like get people to like see me and like want to be there. And I think I was like pushing people away the more that I was like clingy and like wanting to do that. And I ended up like, child. One thing about it, once you get into that place of depression and anxiety, everything suffers. Every relationship suffers. It's just bad. And that's just what it was. I just hit a like rock bottom. And it's lonely down there. They say it's lonely at the top, but it's lonely at rock bottom. Trust me. But I came to the realization that I'm not alone because I got God. And that you have to be able to give people the space that they need to deal with their things, because we all got things. And Teron, you have to face your stuff on your own. You have to figure yourself out. So that's what I've been doing for the past few months, y'all. And that's how we're getting into this space where I can be vulnerable and talk about it and write about it and make music about it and all those things. It's finally like, whoa. I wouldn't say I'm fully comfortable with being alone because I do like people. Contrary to what people might believe, I do enjoy people and having connections and building relationships and having friendships, and I do. And I'm not alone. That's the other thing that I had to learn. I'm not alone. I was just alone physically. But I had to face the reality of dealing of being by myself sometimes and being okay with it. So that when I get into places where I'm with people, that I'm not overly dependent on those people, because that's draining for anybody when I can't do anything without having folks with me, or forcing people to extend themselves in a way that they're not capable of, just to fulfill my loneliness. I gotta be able to deal with it. I still get like sad about being alone sometimes. Like, I'm not 100% comfortable with being alone, but I'm better than I was. And I learned to give people the space that they need. So yeah. But child, I will be happy once I finally reach the point where I can just like choose to be by myself again. But also I'll be happy when I get the option to spend my days with somebody, and not every day, because I don't think that's a good idea anymore. You know what I mean? But I'm a hopeless romantic, y'all, and I just want to be in love. And going from being in love to being alone. Gotta punch you in the face. But all in all, gotta be ready to be alone sometimes, because that's where you find your power. And you're only as good. You can't be good in a relationship until you're able to be good by yourself. So we're just gonna work on being good by ourselves until that relationship happens. Lord, let it be so. Okay, anyway. Thanks for listening. Until next time.
Tell him get his act together, 'cause I ain't messing with nobody lesser.